From severe weather threats to frost and even a tropical system that bears watching, we got a lot to track in the next week. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justus. Please let me know in the comment section where you're watching from right now. Please like this video, subscribe, and turn on those notifications for those updates. And yes, we're tracking a lot right now, including all of those and kind of how they're related. Let's get right to it, looking at the Atlantic Basin as a whole. We've had a cold front move through. Really nice weather and some cool mornings that we've had from Florida to Georgia to the Carolinas. Drop in the comment section where you're watching from right now. We've got Lorenzo deeper into the Atlantic, and we've got a couple of fronts that need to be watched as we're going to see some severe weather pop up later this week in many locations. So let's look at what's going on right now in the model runs. Let me show you first the full European run because it's got some interesting phenomenons here to watch. You got Lorenzo, which is going to continue to move off toward the north and be a fish storm. Meanwhile, high pressure building in the east coast. It's going to warm up, cool down, warm up again. So we're in this situation where we get quite a few fronts to come on through. Meanwhile, there is a wave that bears watching. It's a little bitty thing here on the European. By Saturday night into Sunday, it's continuing into the Caribbean, where right here, it starts to actually have a lower pressure. This would be Monday, a week from right now. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, into next week, it comes into Central America. Now, that's the Europeans' phenomenon. Could this be the last hurrah of hurricane season? Well, we could get stuff all the way into November. You know, it's less likely if it does, and we usually have a jet stream and fronts enough that would stop it from coming to the United States. But the European, along with its counterparts, the GFS, has at times shown this getting scooped up and moving up toward the north, and unfortunately being a stronger system. Let's unpack that. This would be the GFS's version of that same situation. Lorenzo going toward the north and high pressure dominated by some fronts that come on through. And I'll show you those fronts and the impacts in the United States, including severe weather risks in just a moment. Who will see some lightning and hear some thunder in the coming days. We got to iron that out. But let's look first at what the GFS shows with this wave coming in. Monday, we got a little wave, little tiny thing way far south. Trinidad, Tobago, Islands, where you at? I know you're there. Windward, Leeward Islands, this thing's kind of coming in way low. And because it's way low and way into some warm water, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, we got to watch this. It's a 982. This would be a hurricane in the Caribbean on October 24th, and it would continue to blow up. This is a 966. Now we have a major hurricane in the Caribbean on the GFS. Europeans kind of hinted at it at times, the GFS at other times. Am I concerned about it for the southeastern United States yet? No. Is that a possibility? Maybe. We're still in hour 288. So in that wheelhouse where, raises some antennas, but nothing more than that. Folks, if you're new to my channel, my philosophy is always to be very transparent in my forecasting. I'm not an alarmist. I'm not going to tell you to freak out and go to Home Depot and Lowe's and start buying a bunch of supplies. No, but I will tell you that, hey, that's something we're watching. And, if history repeats itself, late October is an area that we have to watch in the Caribbean. It just is. And this GFS model continues to show that to being the case. It moves this big bad system toward the north right here and goes over Cuba with it. With a big cold front coming down at that same time toward the end of the month around Halloween, it would send that same storm over Cuba, barely missing the Florida Keys and South Florida, and would be something to watch very closely for the southeastern United States. This would be October 29th. It would have a big bad hurricane right off the coast. Now, that's one depiction of the run. Let's show you the 12Z run. It's in a completely different place, so that just shows you speed, the intensity, where it's located. It's going to be very important. And timing out these multiple cold fronts. We know there's one coming on the 20th, about a week from right now. That's when the system's in the Gulf, or I should say the Caribbean, trying to spill up into the Gulf. Now, the timing of these fronts will be everything. So, again, we're a week out from it being near the United States. We're not a week out from it being in the United States if it were to come our way. So, simply put, we got to stay dialed in on it this week. There could be something to watch this week, late week, and especially into next week. This secondary run of the GFS equally as strong, 932. That's a major hurricane going up toward Cuba in the wheelhouse of the 25th, 26th. So way early on it. It curves it, same location as the 18Z, but a little bit more to the east. And again, other various runs of the GFS have hinted at that. There's the Caribbean, same thing. So that's 3 runs in a row from the GFS, but we're so far out that, it's something to watch. Is it something to be concerned about yet? No. I'll tell you when it's time to be concerned about. It's like this GFS run from 4 runs ago. Does the same thing, brings it to the Caribbean, then curves it up over Puerto Rico, and then curves it way out, never even getting close to the United States. So, are we on monitor mode in the Southeast? No. Are we in Cuba? No. Are we in the Caribbean islands? Not yet. Could we be in the next 3 or 4 days? Sure. Do you need to keep tuning back in? Absolutely. Let's look at the European ensembles. This is the GFS version, or I should say the 18Z version. It's got a couple of different lows popping up here and there, but nothing consistent. Doesn't really get us to that wheelhouse yet. Let's go there. This would be quite a few lows in the Caribbean. Quite a few of them in that same wheelhouse as the GFS. I mean, you got a number of them there. So there's a signal. And that's what we look for in hurricane forecasting, folks, is a signal. What kind of signals do we have here with pressure, with the tracks? Let's look at the Euro AI, see if it's picking up on anything just yet. Sometimes Euro AI can miss things early on. Not seen on the Euro AI. Not the 12Z run either. So, it's worth watching. The ensembles, all 51 different runs of them. Let me show you the full tropical depression run. There we go. It's got it. All right. So it's got Lorenzo safely curving. It's got a lot of ensembles way south. I mean, so far south here. That's why in Trinidad and Tobago, southern parts of the Lesser Antilles, Jamaica, and then Central America, we need to watch this. And when you look at the percentages, we're in that oranges. So 60 to 70% chance of a named storm in here later on. That'd be the 20th to 21st. So this time next week, you could have something in here. And then sometime late that week, we'd have to watch it up here. And then sometime that next weekend, right in here. So a lot to watch for sure, but not a lot to be overly concerned about just yet, okay? But please keep tuning back in. What will steer these things will be these fronts coming in. I need to iron those out because, folks, we got severe weather risks this week. Let me show you what happens. So going into Wednesday, Thursday's time frame, there's a little backdoor front coming in here. It has no moisture with it. It's more just a wind shift. That brings temperatures down here across the Carolinas from the 80s to the 70s for highs. You have some cool mornings, even some of those cool mornings reaching into Florida again Friday. Now, there's a more pronounced front back here. Look at that low way up here in the dragging front. This could lead to severe weather here across a good bit of the Mid-South into the Midwest. Depending on how the dynamics set up on Saturday and Saturday night, that could be a stormy evening with tornadoes being a threat as well. That low, secondary low, looks to form right in here, and here comes a front, a pretty stout one at that, Saturday night and a Sunday. Not a whole lot of rain for the Carolinas and Georgia. This is a fast-moving front. It just has a recipe for maybe a squall line and some storms Sunday afternoon and evening if the European verifies. If the GFS verifies, it would be earlier in the morning, so the timing's not real keyed in on here with the fronts. But either way, you got a front coming through and cooler air rushing in behind it. Beyond that, you got another series of fronts coming through. So what's there to protect us? What's there to stop us? Well, front after front's coming through, knocks back temperatures a little bit, but not by a lot. Let's look at the Cape version of the European. Let me go back to that. Severe weather threats. Here we go. Cape. So we need fuel to get storms, and it looks like as we go into the latter half of this week, that front does begin to scoop up at least some storm fuel here. And here we are, peak time frame. Eastern parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, into the Midwest here for Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, even into Kentucky and Tennessee. There could be some storms pushing in Saturday night and Sunday. Alabama and Mississippi possibly. Does it make it into the Carolinas? According to this model, there would be just enough fuel if this moves through late in the day on Sunday. Now, the GFS earlier has shown this being a more faster, couldn't find my word, a faster front moving through, where it would bring some storms in Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, it's clearing on out. But it too has some Cape moving toward the north, especially on Saturday. You see it back here through Oklahoma into Arkansas, and then it kind of sneaks it in the south there. So GFS severe threat's much lower when compared to the European. European's a higher severe threat. let's look at that. I got severe risks here. Here we are. This week, backdoor front coming in Thursday. See that front diving in. It's a backdoor. No moisture with it. High pressure is just building in here. So that sprawling high brings in a cooler day for us Thursday, Friday. And that front actually makes it to Florida. So you deal with some lower humidity, some cooler, refreshing nights. Nobody complaining there. Saturday, this front starting to take shape. Got this occluded front up here, triple point right there in Canada, and then stretching down this front. But there's a secondary low that forms on it, and that's the more concerning one, it looks like, as it kind of rides up to the north. Provides just enough oomph here for this front to possibly cause some problems Saturday night into Sunday. Looks like the National Weather Service going with a slower European solution. So if that's true, there could be more of an elevated severe threat somewhere in here. Maybe Virginia, West Virginia. It likely would not be for all areas. Let's look at that. Here's Saturday's threat. Severe chance of strong winds at any given point. This is GFS's. It's got it centered right in here, southern Indiana, Illinois, into parts of Missouri, and then back here through Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. All right. Same thing here on our CSU severe possibilities. Kind of same area highlighted. And then if you go to day 7, that doesn't quite shift into the Carolinas. Most of the energy's up to the north, so it's got it pegged up here for you folks in the Northeast. So a lot to iron out with that, too, is there could be a secondary severe threat somewhere east of where that front starts to move on through. So, folks, my goal every day is to give you what you need to know with severe weather threats. I give a full breakdown of that. Hope you've enjoyed that here, folks. Please, in the comment section, let me know where you're watching from right now. And then next video, I'll be giving you some shout-outs as to who is watching and where, and answer some of those questions you might have. So thank you for tuning in, folks. And if you've made it this far into the video and you're new to the channel, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on those notifications as we'll be checking out what you guys have to say. So many of you were watching after we were tracking that nor'easter last time, and we can go over some of those comments right now because so many of you were asking about where it's going to go, and some of this flooding has been stuff that we've got to pay attention to because some of the coastal flooding here has been worse than even when Aaron passed on by. So the impacts have been wide. The impacts have been, unfortunately, severe in some locations for beach erosion and concerns there. But, you know, I am just grateful that you guys are here and that we have this this channel to be able to gather as a community of people that are watching weather. So here we go. Let's get some of your comments from last video, and please let me know in the comment section where you're watching from, and maybe we'll read your comments in the next video to come. So Jamie watching from Columbia, we need some rain. Got Horry County in the house. Hoping that cold air damage keeps the Carolinas cool. Yeah, I've been loving that. Richmond, Virginia, Sneads Ferry, North Carolina. Portland, Maine, thanks for the update on the fall leaves. You bet. Been calm weather so far. Nor'easter bringing in final arrival of fall. Go figure. Rhode Island here. Hampton, Virginia. Huntsville, Alabama. LA's in the house. Northeast Georgia. Families in Statesboro watching from Riga, Latvia. Thank you. New Hampshire's in the house. Gulf Shores, Alabama. Snowbird invasion incoming. Time of the year, right? Hey, Chris, thanks for the update. I really appreciate it, even though I don't want all the wind and rain, watching from Jacksonville, North Carolina. Thanks for being honest. Hey, you're welcome. We got Rich Square, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia. We got Lexington, Ellenton, Florida, Bolivia, North Carolina. My family wants to thank you for the great weather forecast. They look forward to watching you from Arizona. Hi, Mike. Newport. Got Mount Pleasant in the house. We got Martinique in the house. Thank you. Fort Mill, South Carolina. Lived in Greenville for 50 years. Good to know you. Chris, by the way, you're doing a great job. Hey, thank you, Wendy. Thank you, thank you. Hope you're settling in well to Fort Mill. Clearwater, Florida. Myrtle Beach. Murrells Inlet. Marietta. Vermont. New Jersey. Asheville. Tampa. Gaffney. Land's End, Florida. Land's End, South Carolina. Beaufort County. Wet and cold. Outer Banks, Kitty Hawk. Virginia, nor'easters scare me. Yeah, they can be quite potent. Let's see. What else we got? Hey, Chris, saw my comment on the video. Will's dialed in. Hey, thank you, Will. I like the idea for the merch. Maybe we can give away some Dopplers. Little mini Dopplers. Connecticut's in the house. North Carolina, Tampa, Cleveland, Ohio. This time last year, we were dealing with Milton. Irma was years ago. Yeah, folks, watching it closely. Lands in the house. Thank you, folks. And thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Like this video if you haven't already, and turn on those notifications. And let me know where you're watching from, because next video we'll answer these questions a little bit more in depth and go over what's going on with the new trends. Have a good day, everybody.